Hey folks, John Ferguson Smart here. I want to talk to you today about a common pitfall that I see in a lot of teams that I work with. It's a thing that I call TDD, but not the TDD that you're thinking of, not test-driven development. No, template-driven development. See, what these teams do is they follow templates, they follow these superficial approaches, they look for quick fixes to get the job done, to make their life easier. But in fact, when they follow these templates, they end up making their life a lot harder and causing really serious problems further down the line. I know that's a little bit vague, so let me give you an example. I was working with this one team once. They were using story mapping to lay out their stories, but the problem was story mapping is an awesome technique when you do it well. It allows you to map out the journeys and get a really clear vision about what your application is meant to do, how your users go through the system to achieve their goals. But what this team was doing was basically using story mapping to list out the features that they wanted to build one by one, just as kind of a shopping list with no overall vision of the overall journey, which made it very hard to prioritize and very hard to check whether anything had been missed. So it was a huge mess, and that caused a lot of problems further down the line. Another example that I see quite often is the as a so that format. So as a user, I want to check out the shopping cart so that I can see my cart total, something like that. The problem with this format, it's not really the format's problem, is that people tend to overlook the so that part. They tend to forget about this little sentence at the end to say so that I want to achieve some goal. And what that does is they fail to get a clear understanding of the business requirement. So they're still using this format. As a user, I want to check out my shopping cart so that I can see the cart total. But why do you want to see the cart total? Why do you want to check out your shopping cart? Why do you want to achieve that goal? What's the business purpose of this particular process? We're missing out on that detail. So they're using the templates, but they're not getting the value. And a third example, very classic example that I see all the time, is Gherkin BDD's given when then format. Now you don't need to use given when then in BDD. BDD is a collaboration process. BDD is a way of having conversations to identify acceptance criteria, to get clarity about what you need to build, and then going and automating that so you can get faster feedback. The format for the automation doesn't matter. There are lots of different ways. For some people, a given when then format works well. For other people, pure code with the DSL works well. That's all good, but that's not the issue. The problem is people tend to use this given when then format, first of all, as if it's a mandatory format that they have to use, and secondly, for their tests. They use it to write very clunky UI tests, which misses the entire point of the BDD process and gives BDD a bad name. Also creates very fragile tests that are hard to maintain, hard to update, and it can even slow you down. So again, this is a trap that comes from using templates. So what's the takeaway here? Really, templates are awesome if you know how to use them. You should be able to use templates. How would you say this? You want to use templates in a way so that you don't need to use the templates. You want to understand them so deeply that you don't need the templates. If you're just using the templates because you want to follow the structure, maybe you don't understand why the templates were written in the first place and what they're for. But if you can get to the point where you don't need the templates and you use them only because it fits into a particular circumstance, then you're probably using them well. So I hope this gives you some food for thought about template-driven development. Use templates, don't abuse them.